Michael Hernandez here of MLH Media, and I'm here today at the Pit HQ in Arroyo Grande with the legend himself, John Hackleman. Man, it is an honor to get to sit with you, man. How you doing?
It's fantastic. Life is good. Life is beautiful. Everything's fantastic. We got the boys back here training. I got little kids coming later to train. Got my beautiful wife's going for a black belt this year. Life is good.
Life has been treating you very, very well recently. Let's talk a little bit about some recent news that I think you made your heart kind of go 3 hearts too big. Was Alex Pereira main event, Jamal Hill. What are your thoughts on it all? Was it a shock to you?
Not really a shock, but it's great news. We've been pushing for that, but it's kind of a scary fight, to be honest. Jamal Hill is a fucking badass, but then again, Alex has one punch knockout, and that will transfer into light heavyweight like it was in middleweight. To be honest, it's because I like Jamal Hill so much. I don't like the fight. Of course, Alex is our family, part of the Pit Ohana, and I'll be pushing for him. But sometimes I just don't want it against, people I really like, and I really like Jamal Hill. But that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, it was announced at UFC 298. Your man, Chuck Liddell, was over there, another member of the Pit Ohana. What does it mean for so many members of your Pit fight team from those early days and now even translating into today's game that are making it to that top level, being in the UFC, being at the top level and showing out for sure for the Pit Ohana?
Yeah, it's great. It's a great honor, and I'm proud. My guys making it to the top, like Chuck and Glover. I even had a lot of success with Cord and some of the other guys. But now Alex Pereira is like my grandson because he's training under Glover, who's like my son. So it's kind of like we're keeping it in the family.
Yeah, you definitely are keeping it in the family over here. This fight family has grown for quite some time now. Let's talk a little bit about Antonio Benuelos over there in San Luis Obispo. He's another one of the members of the Pit Ohana. Has been with you for quite some time now. What does it mean for him to be carrying on the legacy over there and running the gym in San Luis Obispo?
It's great. I love Antonio. He's great having him. It's like he's the top of the top. And some guys are really good fighters, which he was. I mean, you make it to the UFC like he did. That's as high as you can go. It's like, well, was that guy any good? Well, he made it to the NFL. That means he is good. And it's the same in MMA. If you made it to the UFC, you're good. And Antonio was good. And now he's a great trainer. He's a great trainer, a great teacher. So it's great to have him on the team, and I wish he worked here at this gym in the Pit HQ, but they got him over in SLO, so he's gonna stay over there. But I think he's the best coach in the business.
Antonio Benuelos, following a little bit in those footsteps of yourself, I feel like a lot of people know you from coaching obviously the legends of this game. We're talking about the Chuck Liddells, we're talking about the Glover Teixeiras, but they don't know that background that you got, man. You're a former military U.S. Army veteran that also had some combat experience as well while you were in there. You got those hands. Those are certified hands, E for everyone. Can you go ahead and go a little bit into your background in mixed martial arts?
Yeah, I mean, it's very limited. But back home, I was from a system called Kaju Kempo, which is karate, judo, jiu-jitsu, kempo, and boxing. It's called Kaju Kempo. You can Google it. It's pretty popular. Been around since 1947. So I started training with that, and then for some reason, when I was 16, which I was already fighting in the Golden Gloves, which is boxing, and I was fighting amateur kickboxing, there came into Hawaii a promoter, and he was promoting the World Series of Martial Arts. And it was MMA-ish, but for then, 1976, they just called it anything goes matches. So we could do punch and kick and takedowns, etc. So that started for a while, but it was limited. Then the promoter went away, and we went back to either kickboxing or boxing. So I spent most of my career kickboxing, and then I did a lot of boxing too. It's probably about even. So I did a little of everything.
Yeah, I think you may be selling yourself a little bit short there. You also were in Vegas for the Golden Glove regionals. You're a very accomplished mixed martial artist. I know that you say that limited, but you're one of those pioneers in this game. What has been the biggest difference from those early UFC days to now that you think has really helped to elevate these athletes and help to get these guys to these top levels, help get these guys to where they are now?
I think the main difference is just back then it was wrestler versus boxer, jiu-jitsu guy versus sumo wrestler, just all kind of specific arts, specific skill sets fighting other specific skill sets, and they're trying to prove which one is better. And they couldn't, because jiu-jitsu won for a little while. Then kickboxers were winning all the time. Then wrestlers were coming all the time. And now it's not even close to that. Now it's you have to be good at everything, or you're not going to be competitive in MMA. You have to be really proficient at jiu-jitsu, at wrestling, at striking, and conditioning, or you're not going to do well, and you're not going to make it to the highest level. And we've been lucky because of our old school training methods and our little of everything training methods since the beginning. It's really done well for my students. So we've been lucky when it comes to bringing my Hawaiian Kempo students into MMA. It's translated well. So I'm lucky that it just happened to fall into place like that.
Can you go, just a couple more questions here for you, John. I really do appreciate your time, taking the time away from your students and just getting to talk to me a little bit. But I feel like the stories of you cornering these guys, they're legends in themselves. The Glover Teixeira story specifically, I feel like is one that's very interesting. Could you go into the story of how you recruited Glover to kind of come over to your gym over there in the Central Coast? I mean, he was nowhere near the Central Coast at the time, and you got him to come over here. And obviously now the rest is history, as they say.
He fought one of my guys in his first fight. It was both of their first fights, my guy's first fight and his first fight. And he was coming from Connecticut, but he's Brazilian, so he's from Brazil. But he fought my guy, and my guy won. But it was a good fight, and Glover showed so much heart and good attitude that Chuck and I were like, I like this guy. Let's go talk to him. So we just went into his dressing room after the fight, just told him how much we appreciated his attitude and what a good fight it was. And next thing we know, we're like inviting him to come train with us. So he moves from Connecticut to California, stays at my house, and he works at my gym as a kids instructor. He was teaching the kids classes. And next thing you know, a lot happened in between then. But then next thing you know, he's winning a UFC title.
Yeah, I feel like that story, a couple of people in the MMA community know of it, but it's something that's just a game of chance. I mean, and now getting back to Forward Day, we're going to have another show, A1 Combat. They're going to be going over there to Tachi Palace as well, the same place, I believe, where you met Glover all those years back, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much history there, and that's a lot of Antonio's fights were there. I don't know about Chuck. I don't think he fought there much.
Yeah.
He might have once. I don't remember him fighting there. I know Glover did. He had a couple of brutal KOs there, and that's when he was more a puncher than a wrestler, and then that all switched during his career in the UFC, but. He started off being known for his knockout power, like when he knocked out Sajuko.
Yeah, Glover Teixeira has always been, like how you said, he's been one of those first guys that I feel like really has developed the striking and just molding it all together and becoming a true martial artist, somebody that can grapple, somebody that can strike, and somebody
wrestle.
Yeah, well versed.
And his conditioning is, it's like CrossFit standards. I mean, he could compete in the CrossFit Games. I mean, his conditioning is off the hook, and his wrestling is off the hook. He's not a wrestler, you know. He's a jiu-jitsu guy, but he started as a striker, and that's where he got his first, his first wins, and he was known for his striking. And then, like I said, his wrestling is top-notch too. But then again, so is his jiu-jitsu. And that's the way you have to be now to be competitive in the real world. And the real world is the UFC or PFL or some of the higher-end productions or promotions. And that's what it takes now. And if you're a single fighter with one skill set, you're not going to go far. So that's why it's so different now. Everybody's good at everything.
That is for dang sure. And I think we're going to constantly see a lot more of these champions kind of be in that Glover Teixeira kind of mold where they got to be good at everything, like how you said. But I know you said recently after Glover's last fight, you were done cornering. You weren't going to be doing that for any longer. Is there any chance, though, a possibility that any of these guys will get you to go ahead and be in their corner? Possibly Alex Pereira, UFC 300, any of these guys making the UFC that are over here at the Pit. Anytime we'll get to see John Hackleman back in the corner.
Yeah, I could be talking to it. And it doesn't have to be a UFC. It could be one of my guys and amateurs. If they really want me to that badly, I will. But like Glover knew how much I hated cornering, and especially towards the end of his career, and he would say, "Coach, I know you hate it, man. Please, I just got a couple more fights, and hopefully I don't have to do it." But if they honestly feel like they need me in the corner as one of my guys, yeah, I'll go back in the corner. But I'm just praying it doesn't happen because I don't want to go. It's a nightmare for me.
I can only imagine. It's something that you don't got any control. It's one of the only aspects in your life where you truly have no control, no matter how much prep, no matter how much you do in preparation. It's out of your control at that point. So could you actually take us through it? I mean, you're somebody that's been in the corner the most. What is the feeling that maybe casual fans or just people in general that have never been in a UFC arena, never been in the shoes of a mixed martial artist, that you feel in there when you're cornering one of your guys?
It's maybe like you were saying, you don't have the control. Like when I was fighting, it was a different kind of nervous. I got really nervous when I was fighting, but nothing close to when I'm cornering. And that's because I'm usually cornering my guy. So he's usually a person I have a relationship with. I really care about him as a family member. So I care about his health, and I care about him not getting hurt, and I care about him not feeling bad and being sad because he lost. So I go through a lot of that, and then I feel like it's my fault if he doesn't do the right thing. If he gets caught, that's my fault. I didn't prepare him. So there's those thoughts that go through my mind. So I don't like being away from my family at all. I don't like leaving home, being away from my students here. I just don't like the traveling part of it or the fighting part of it or the watching somebody get hurt. And yeah, I wish I had more control, but even more than that, I wish they wouldn't do it. I just wish they'd stop. That would be my ideal, that would be my best case scenario. Is Chuck never wanted to fight, Glover never wanted to fight, none of these guys want to fight, and I don't have to ever do it again. Or I wish I never did in the first place. But that's past. I can't take that away. So I just wish no one would do it anymore. I could just train guys at my gym and have fun and hang out with my family.
I think that's the ultimate way that we can end off this interview, John. You're a man of many, many talents, but you are at the end of the day a family man. So I really want to appreciate your time today, John. It was an absolute pleasure getting to speak to you, my man. Michael Hernandez of MLH Media, and we are going to be signing out over here with the man, the legend, John Hackleman of the Pit Ohana, baby. Thank you so much for your time, bro.